Hey guys, so here we have a redesign I did on my client about half an hour ago. So you guys seem to love the real-time video I did yesterday, so I've left this one in real time too, and I'm going to make an attempt to do 1 or 2 real-time videos every month for you, just so that you get an idea of like the speed I work and everything. Obviously, for a lot of my videos, it would make them ridiculously long, so it takes ages to like edit and upload. But I'm going to try and do like, you know, a couple every month, so that there'll be a little playlist for just real-time videos. So I'm starting off. I've done all the usual. So I've filed my lady's previous set off to a very thin, clear layer. That's what that little line is you can see there. Before anyone comments going that's like any damage from e-files, that's actually like the little shadow of her previous set. I've come in with soft lemon, something like that. Let me walk across the salon and check the pot, which is a Team Gorgeous colour. I've blended that up to create the ombre base, and then I've come down with CJP Amor, and then I've used my wet brush. Didn't use a bead of clear acrylic, just used my wet brush to pick up some of that neon chunky cut in lemon, and kind of do my quite popular diagonal slide across the fade there, and then I'm capping the entire nail in crystal glass. Just patting and tapping down. Getting rid of any excess. Doing as much as I can with my brush just to get that nice shape that I want. So again, when I file, it's more to just refine than anything. On this nail, I'm going to do a marbled nail, so I'm placing a clear base. Sorry for the squeaking in the background, that is my chair. And then I'm putting a wet dish bead of Amor, and then I'm picking up Purplicious and Magenta from CJP, and it's Glossy Lemon from Team Gorgeous. And I'm placing that on, and you've got to move quick, because otherwise that acrylic will dribble onto your lady's cuticles, and that's the last thing you want. So I just put the tip of my brush in and swirled it round. Now, I don't want to pull or drag this, I want to pat it more, because if you're pulling, it's going to just blend all the colours into one mush. But I do like to do a little blend when I'm going to put another bead on top, because it means that you don't get like a big solid ridge. So the way I've picked this up is I wiped back in my monomer, and then I did 2 swipes rather than 3 through the Amor. Wiped the brush on my kitchen towel, and then back in my monomer, and then I picked up a small bead of each colour just with that one brush, with that one monomer dip. Now, sometimes when you're marbling, you'll get a bit lumpy bumpy nail, so what I also do is I don't cap the entire nail, but I do almost like a wash of clear over the top, just to fill in any lumps or bumps or gaps. And then God, my chair is so squeaky, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to use the Magenta on this nail, place along that kind of free edge smile line, and then blend up. Sorry if you can hear clicking and rattling around in the background, I'm just kind of shutting up the salon at the end of the day. It's about 9 o'clock at night, so I just want to get home. And then I'm blending down with CJP Amor, and then I'm picking up some of the raspberry chunky cut neon glitter there, and again placing across that in like a kind of like a wave across the ombre there, and then going to cap that entire nail in crystal glass. Now the other nail I used Purplicious and the Grape chunky cut, but I didn't feel the need to show that because I've already shown 2 ombres and glitters. So again, usual thing, just wanting to get a nice even shape on that nail, nice smooth shaped nail. Make sure that as you've been pulling that bead down, if it gets a little thin on the tip, just make sure you've got enough on there. And then as you can see, I'm not capping the entire nail, I'm popping that bead near the cuticle and then pulling forward, just getting into all those like little lumps and bumps. More often than not when I do this, I actually add a little too much bulk, but I'd rather have a little extra to file. Okay, and I've filed them into shape, usual filing technique, you guys have seen me do it so many times now. And then I've top coated, and then I'm going to do some 3D flowers, and I thought this would be another useful thing for you to see in real time to give you an idea of the setting speed of the acrylic and stuff like that. Now my salon is quite warm, so my acrylic does set at a decent rate. If your salon's cold, or if you're mobile and you're struggling, I keep a little pot of monomer. Just for 3D, sometimes if I'm working in cold conditions, because I put a little bit of acetone in it, and that helps speed up the setting. So place those 3 beads on, and then coming in and at about a 45-degree angle, just shaping those petals. So you want your tip of your brush to be pretty much touching the nail, but then the body of the brush to be raised away from the nail. And then just adding a few little petals to make that flow across the nail. So I want to follow the glitter. So adding just a few beads here and there, and adding a few leaves. The difference with the leaves is you don't wait for it to set. As soon as you place it on, I push one end into in between the petals, so it looks like it's growing out from between the petals or from behind the flower, and then I just pull the rest of the acrylic into a point, and then I let it set a little. So you've got that initial shape of the leaf that you're going to want. And when I do additional petals, I always make sure I'm almost pushing a bit of that central acrylic into the gaps between the petals, so again they look like they're kind of growing and flowing out. You don't want big old gaps between them all. And as you're moving away, you can reduce the size of the beads you're using as well, so that slowly the petals are getting a little smaller, if you like, or you can keep them all the same size. Just, I wouldn't get bigger as you move away from the central point of the 3D. So as you can see, I'm just pushing it in a little bit and then pulling it out. So you've got a rough leaf shape, so you know what that's going to end up as. And normally I'll kind of do like 2 or 3 little petals flowing out. Sometimes I get carried away and I just keep adding petals and petals and petals, and then it just looks a bit of a mess, and there's a bit, you can't really see where the design is supposed to begin and what you're supposed to be focusing on, because there's just so many petals. Just adding one more petal and a little leaf, and I think I was done with this design at that point. And remember, whenever you've done 3D, always make sure you give that 3D enough chance to set. You want to give it a good 2-3 minutes to make sure it's all set before you put any cuticle oil on or get your ladies to wash their hands or anything. Because there's nothing worse than putting a bit of cuticle oil on, going to rub it into the cuticles and then smushing your 3D. It's very frustrating. And if you wanted to take this a little further, you could pop, instead of a bead of acrylic in the middle of that flower, you could pop some crystals, and you could like pop crystals like coming out and flowing with the flowers. But I just wanted this nice crisp white on top of these neon colours. I thought that would look very nice for my lady as she's off on holiday. And there you go, so that's all done. So I hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Questions, comments, constructive feedback, pop it all below. See you again. Bye.